In this video essay, I shall be backing up a couple points that I made about the emotion of being scared and what gives us that reaction when playing video games. These points will be backed up by primary and secondary research, followed with an evaluation and a conclusion to give my final opinion on this topic. I'm Alex Needham and welcome to my video essay. My first statement is that the sound of the heartbeat in the background can make the player feel tense and on edge. To back this statement up, I did primary research and the results I got wasn't exactly conclusive. I asked the quote, name a sound effect that would make you scared. I got 4 very similar answers. The first 3 being creaky floorboards off in the distance, and the other saying industrial ambience. Perhaps my question wasn't necessarily clear, and I should have asked them something on the lines of, quote, does the sound of a heartbeat in-game make you tense/scared? Then I would have got a definite answer, but either way it still lands me in the same spot. For example, if the creaky floorboards making noise off in the distance, then my heart would start beating heavily, and if the sound was to go off in-game, it would just mimic that same noise and feeling, making you recognise that it's a tense situation. The secondary research I have found was on the platform Reddit. As this wasn't a popular topic of conversation, I had to dig deep. I Reddit asked the question of, quote, why do heartbeat sound effects create tension in horror movies? Another Redditor answers with, quote, because you start to feel your own heartbeat. You can relate. It's like a sudden self-awareness of your fragile existence. That beat is you. It owns you. Everything you do depends on it. Every aspect of your life will cease to exist if it stops. I completely agree with this statement. It's a very good reminder on why you should fight or flight in a situation in order to survive. Obviously, it's a bit different as you're not actually in a real-life deadly situation, but the fact that a game can put that amount of pressure and tenseness on you is outstanding and really proves that sound effects can make you feel the emotion of being scared. Another Redditor said that, quote, the fight or flight response focuses blood flow to your muscles and your brain. This raises your blood flow in those parts of your body, so stress or danger can cause your heart to pound in your ears. This is what movies are simulating, an elevated heartbeat pounding in your ears. If you're in a nice theatre, you can feel it thrumming in your whole body, just like you would if you were tense and aware of danger. Because fight or flight can be triggered sympathetically, it's possible for movies to play with your body's natural responses. This was studied by Harvard University. Both are on the same page about the fight or flight response. I could go into depth about how the fight or flight works, but that's not what this is about. My evaluation on this point that I have made is that the heartbeat sound effect can be heard when playing horror games and make you feel scared and initiate a person's fight or flight response, making the situation tense and fearful as the game mimics an emotion that you should be feeling by playing it in the background whilst lurking a haunted hallway, for example. My second point on how games make you feel is the flickering lighting makes the player feel like there is an evil lying within the dark. To enforce this statement, I conducted some primary and secondary research to find out if the statement that I had made was true or false. My primary research found that the flickering lights in horror games make them feel, quote, scared, and quote, something evil is close by when I asked them in my multiple choice question. I personally feel the same way when playing horror games, especially when the light bulbs pop, as it seems like something is popping them with their powers in order to make them unseeable, and this is terrifying. When looking at secondary research, I found a statement in a study, and it said this, quote, when about 6 to 10 years of age, I thought that when the light came, everything was bright and happy, and I always felt like jumping and skipping about. I do not long for the advent of dawn on waking too early, but always desire to sleep longer and wish that it would not come. As far back as I can remember, I have had a very peculiar feeling when I awaken before dawn. This feeling is as if all my nerves were tingling with an intense longing for life. I think that this statement is something that all of us have in common, but is swept under the bed and not paid attention to. When I think about this statement more, I realise I have almost put a filter on some of my memories, making it seem like everything is glittery and shiny when the atmosphere is just the same as today. I found this quite intriguing, that we automatically make it seem like our memories are so bright with colours and sunny, warm looking days. On the flip side of my tangent, I feel like this can apply to our bad memories and times when we feel sad. I personally tend to associate darker colours to times when I felt down or when something bad had occurred. To follow this up, I decided to take a deeper look into why we associate dark colours with bad memories, and it seems to start here. Quote, black is one of the sad colours associated with sadness and fear. Black can make us feel intimidated and unapproachable since it's closely linked with authority and power. This is an interesting statement, but it makes sense when you realise how true that is, and it wouldn't surprise me that this is how this phenomenon starts from a young age. It can be such a sad time when a relative passes away, and is something that is engraved into our memory for lifetimes. And a small key to it is that everyone is dressed in all black when they are paying their respects. Another point to being scared to dark colours can lead back to being cavemen, when we had to hunt for our food, but also being hunted. For example, being hunted by a pack of wolves at night time, and not knowing their whereabouts because you can't see them. And even though we don't hunt today, we still feed this knowledge to children through books. In conclusion, I think my primary research could have been clearer for the reader so that I could get better answers, as this hindered my primary research. However, the question I asked on my second point was a multiple choice. Therefore, my research was clear and easy to understand. My secondary research, however, was very conclusive and allowed me to get to my point with quotes to reinforce my points. I think that my secondary research went better than my primary, but it was good to be getting first-hand opinions on my questions. Overall, I think the point of this essay was proven, which is that video games make you feel scared, and the points that I made were correct. I hope that you took something from this essay. Thanks for listening.